What's going on, everybody? My name is Coach Stefan, and I am the owner of Pursuit Health and Performance. And welcome to the Everyday Pursuit podcast. What's up? Today, I want to talk to you guys about supplements because this is a question that, as you could probably guess, I get quite frequently. Just to give you a little bit of background, I've been taking supplements for about 17 years, actually, ever since I started lifting weights back in 2000. Man, I don't know. 2004, I guess. I don't know how long ago that is, but let's say 2004, 2005. That's when I really started lifting weights. So I guess, yeah, I don't know how many years. It's been a long time. Now, back then in high school, this was like freshman, sophomore year of high school. I'm 32 now. Okay, so do the math. I didn't know what I was doing. I remember the first supplement I ever took was called Nano Vapor. It was a pre-workout. It was like purple grape crack, basically. And if you're OG lifters, you know they used to have like Jack 3D, which I took that too. It was like this crackhead pre-workout. It was awesome. But that's not really the supplements that I felt like helped me the most. I'm going to get to those in a second, but I want to tell you kind of how I feel like most new lifters, like how their journey goes with supplements. Now, the first supplement that I see people get, it's very, very popular, is a pre-workout, which is not what I would recommend whatsoever, but that's generally what people do because they want something that like gets them jacked and motivated to work out. Because I've talked to literally thousands of people over the last couple of years. I mean, in my whole fitness career, I don't even know, a lot. But over even the last 2 or 3 years, probably almost 1,000 people at least. And a lot of people say, I just need more motivation. So you could imagine taking pre-workout is usually the motivation people need, right? Like they take a freaking scoop of pre-workout and there's kind of no going back unless you want to just sit there and itch like a crackhead in your house. So you're like, all right, I got to go to the gym. By the way, that's beta alanine that's causing you to itch. So you can get a pre-workout without that if you don't like the tingly, itchy feeling. But I digress. So that's kind of where I started, doing scoops of pre-workout in the locker room with my friends, going to lift weights, freaking out because I really didn't have a lot of caffeine. So it was like bad timing. But then from like probably freshman, sophomore year, and I didn't do it all the time. I was just like, that was my introduction. I didn't take vitamins. My parents love them, but they know nothing about health. Even now, to this day, they really just don't grasp the concept. So my dad, I think, probably took like a Costco multivitamin pack. By the way, if you're doing that, just stop. They're very low quality. And I'll get to that in a second too. So I didn't really grow up with parents that were like, oh, you should take vitamins, or you should do this. Even though I was a decently high level athlete, they didn't know. And you don't know what you don't know. And you might say, well, oh, you're a kid, you don't need vitamins. Actually, that's when you do need micronutrients more than when you're an adult because you're still growing and developing your brain. But I'm not going to really get into a huge conversation there. So I basically didn't take supplements all through high school up until probably my senior year at the end of it, which sucked because I was a wrestler. If you don't know anything about wrestling, you're cutting weight a lot. You're very depleted of macronutrients. So your proteins, your carbs, your fats, your calories, and micronutrients, AKA your vitamins. So I really, really should have been taking a multivitamin, fish oil, like basic stuff then more than any other time in my whole entire life, just because I was so depleted of all these different types of nutrients. Again, no education. My wrestling coach didn't know shit, even though he was a health teacher. And I get it. You're not supposed to say, oh, you should take supplements. But like, if I had wrestlers, if I was a coach and they were cutting, I would have a hard conversation with the parents about like, hey, your son is probably eating the same thing every day. He's probably not getting in a lot of fruits and vegetables and things because he's cutting. He needs micronutrients in his body to perform. This is what I would recommend. Obviously, that's on the parents because they're under 18, but that's a conversation that needs to be had, by the way. So anyways, that's very important to me. So years and years later, right, when I graduated high school, I remember going into a GNC and I got sold so hard. Oh man, this guy was like, you need to take creatine 189, which was creatine HCl, which is still popular, hydrochloride. and he got me on a multivitamin and Waybolic, which I think is still GNC's protein, which is okay. It's not the greatest brand. And I spent like a lot of money at that time. You know, I was working at a movie theater. It was like not balling out, making money. And I remember spending like $200 on supplements. And I got roped in because I will say that they did make a difference. I noticed an energy boost right away because I was taking the Med Mega Sports, which had high B vitamins, which was basically the thing. But again, they were hard pressed tablets. So I'm just going to throw this out there right now before we dive in deeper. If you're taking any pill that is like a hard pressed tablet, not a capsule, right, with powder or liquid, but a tablet, like a hard rock, do not take those. They don't fully digest. They're a waste of your money. They're very low quality. Just don't do it. Okay. Just don't even do it. Okay. So if you're taking pills like that, like Centrum or maybe some stuff at GNC, they don't digest well. It is kind of a waste. Or like Animal Pack is a brand too, where I used to take when I was deployed, just these tons of these like hard to swallow giant rock pills. Again, they're not super, super helpful. Usually a liquid or capsule is always going to be, well, I guess they're both capsules, but either a capsule with a powder or a capsule with liquid is always going to be better. I don't really have a preference, but just FYI. So I was taking these pretty low quality vitamins, spending a lot of money, and I did notice a difference. And the creatine, you know, it's probably not the best quality, but it was creatine, and I immediately got bigger and I immediately got stronger. And this is also when I was like kind of getting into my, what I like to call man body. This is also, I was taking Jack 3D because it was like the thing back then. So I was taking a pre-workout, post-workout, or sorry, pre-workout, protein, vitamin, all that kind of stuff. So over the years, okay, fast forward 10 plus years later, I've tried so many different companies. I've tried so many different protein powders, creatines, multivitamins, fish oils, all that. And this is the kind of the conclusion I've got to, because I don't want to make this episode super long. I could literally make this episode 2 hours talking about supplements, and I'm just not going to do that. I'll do specific supplements later on. So one of the things that I've realized is a couple things, and this might surprise you because I know a lot of fitness coaches are going to be like, use this brand and blah, blah, blah. And this is the only brand, blah, blah. You know, number one, most supplement companies are crap. Okay. I'm throwing it out there. Most of them, the FDA doesn't regulate supplement industry. So they've done tons of studies where pro hormones, different things, they just like have pulled them off the shelf at like a GNC or supplement shop, found all this nasty, bad stuff in there. So when you start getting into, and all types of things, but normally testosterone boosters, what do you know? Pre-workouts, what do you know? Like it's more of that stuff. When you get into like fish oils and like a multivitamin and a green, there's not as much, but even some proteins they found heavy metals in. And so it is hard to know like who to trust. This is kind of my standpoint. You got to look at where you're getting your supplements at. Okay. And I'm not saying you can't buy good supplements. There's like zero okay supplements at Costco or Walmart, but I'm also saying that because Costco sells things to the masses. Walmart is Walmart. We all know they're not going to necessarily have like top end supplements, but supplements are relatively expensive. And what is a supplement? It is a supplement. It is supposed to supplement what you're not getting in. So if I'm going to supplement, I want to supplement with a decently high quality. No, I'm not trying to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars a month on supplements like I did when I was an idiotic teenager, right? And they weren't even that good of quality, but I would like to have a supplement that's like pretty good. Okay. And I don't even know where I want to go with this because there's so much to break down with supplements. I will say this. Something is better than nothing to a certain point. So if you're like, well, should I just take it at Costco because that's all I can afford, or should I not take any? In general, you're probably safer taking some versus none because your body's going to absorb some as long as the brand is trusted. So like I've heard horror stories on Amazon. You're getting stuff from like China and different countries and there's no regulation and just like really bad. So I would go with like some of the bigger companies that have been around for a long time and have GMP, which is good manufacturer processing, maybe SNF certified. There's a couple different certifications that matter. I will go ahead and I will say this. For me, I am associated with a supplement company and Pursuit. It's First Form. And the reason that I'm associated with them is a couple things. Number one, I actually use these supplements and have been using them religiously since 2017. Another thing you might not hear from a lot of influencers, or don't consider myself an influencer, but trainers, is I actually don't like all of First Form's products. I'm very open about that. I think some of them are phenomenal and I use them literally every day. However, just like any company, it doesn't mean I like everything there. Like I just bought a new MacBook, right? I bought a 16-inch, it's refurbished, whatever, but basically new 16-inch MacBook laptop. I don't like everything that Apple has. I think iPads are stupid. I just don't see a point in them. I don't like the smaller laptops. I got this laptop and it's awesome. So some people are like, oh, you like this company? They have this pre-workout and they have all these artificial sweeteners and all this junk in it. Yeah, don't use that. But First Form also has products that are very good, which I'll go through kind of my top 3 and give you guys some legitimate recommendations and why I use them versus other supplement companies too, and why it's important to me. But before I dive in, I just want to get the Costco, Walmart, wherever you go shopping thing around. Not all vitamins and supplements are created equal. So if you think you're saving a couple bucks by getting something cheaper, sure, you are saving a couple bucks, but you're also probably getting a lower quality product. And there is a happy medium. And I can tell you from personal experience, 'cause I don't know what you've experienced, but I've tried the whole Walmart, Costco, vitamins, proteins. Vitamins, I don't notice too much of a difference, but I actually can notice when I'm taking higher quality vitamins a little bit. There's a little bit of an energy boost, but it's more what I feel like I'm not getting in my body because I know that First Form has an FDA level 3 facility. I just trust their morals too from the company. I've literally spoke to people at the company. They have 110% money back guarantee. They have really high client satisfaction rate. They're just like a good company in general, like regardless of their supplement company, what they stand for. So number one, I want to give them my money if I'm going to have supplements. And number two, their supplements are really good. So multivitamins, you're probably not going to notice a big difference. Fish oils, probably not, except you do want to look at the contents of EPA and DHA. So those would be my top 2 supplements, a really high quality multivitamin and a fish oil. And First Form actually stands behind that too. Although they have every product under the sun, they talk about the pyramid. Hey, let's build the base. Let's get a fish oil. Let's get a multivitamin, and let's get maybe like a green and a protein. And then we can start talking about the post-workouts and the pre-workouts and the testosterone boosters and all the other fancy things. Those are just the cherries on top. By the way, I don't know if you know this, but supplements are basically the last 10%. And what I mean by that is like a lot of people try to solve problems by taking supplements that will never solve the problem. Let me say that again. A lot of people will try to take a supplement to solve a problem that the supplement was never supposed to try to solve in the first place. It wasn't designed to, and it becomes laziness. Oh, I don't want to actually stay in a calorie deficit, so I'll get a fat burner. Garbage supplement, by the way, don't do it. And guess what? First Form has fat burners. I don't agree with them. I don't like them. I think they are high stimulants that don't work. Maybe short term, but long term they don't. And I've never really found one that I like. It doesn't mean there's no fat burning or metabolism boosting supplement out there that's awesome, but I haven't tried one I like, so I don't recommend it. Okay. And I've been fitness model shredded without it. I will say this though, when I did my first photo shoot, I did take a fat burner for the last 2 weeks, and all it did is make me feel like crap. I didn't get any leaner. I just was like hyped up. It wasn't good. Okay. So we're not even going to have that conversation right now. Stay away from fat burners. So again, I think like a high quality multivitamin and fish oil. And here's where you're probably going to notice the biggest difference for most people is in your protein powder. A lot of people say they can't do dairy or they can't do whey protein. Or if you hear the joke, oh, I get protein farts, or if I take whey protein, it hurts my stomach. But that same person can have a little bit of milk or maybe some yogurt or maybe some cottage cheese or ice cream and be fine. Well, it's the way it's processed. If you guys don't know, whey, W-H-E-Y, like whey protein, is a byproduct of cheese. And when it goes through the process and gets turned into a powder and flavored, there's a lot of different things. Most protein powder, so I can't speak today, is superheated. And when it's superheated, it does something called denaturization, which basically breaks down the molecule. It's almost like cooking an egg. Once you cook an egg, you can't uncook it, right? It's denaturized and it's changed the form. And so what happens is we drink this powder that tastes like chocolate goodness. but it's like almost overcooked, if that makes sense. And so it doesn't settle well in our stomach. And I can tell you because for years I did GNC's Waybolic, whatever it's called, 60 or I don't know, they come out with a million names. And I used to do Costco Optimum Nutrition and just get the cheap big chocolate tub of protein. And I would have the protein farts and I would have an upset stomach and it never sat well with me. And I'm somebody that can do dairy okay, but for some reason, every time I had a protein shake, I felt bloated. I felt just like icky in my stomach, if that's not too childish for you. I just felt like unsettled. And it wasn't until I started taking First Form's protein, which is, and the only protein that I really like from them, just telling you guys right now, is Formula One. Like they spell it PHORMULA-1, right? And that is a whey protein isolate. If you don't know anything about whey protein isolates, they actually have very little lactose in them, way less than a concentrate. A lot of proteins out there are protein blends. And if you flip the jar around, they'll give you all this BS science. You need all types. You need a slow digesting and a fast digesting and a caseinate. No, all those are crap. Whey protein isolate is the only protein you need to take. It's fine. It's fast digesting. It's really easy on the stomach. And I get First Form's natural protein, which basically has 0 artificial sweeteners. I think it is made with stevia, so it is sweetened. It's not overly sweet like some of these nasty proteins. It mixes in water. Like if you have a shaker cup, you don't even have a little silver ball in there, and you just shake it. No grit, no clumps, very clean, not that sweet. I mean, very easy to put down, not super filling. It's just a freaking good protein. Another thing about all First Form's proteins is they are low temperature processed, so they don't get denaturized and they don't hurt your stomach. So yes, that is my plug because I do think they're good. And I can tell you that I've had people that go, I can't do dairy protein. I said, well, just try it. They literally do 110% money back guarantee. And I'll put the links in my show notes so you guys can get free shipping on orders. I think it's $75 or more. And it would super help support me. So, because we are affiliated with them, but this is not why I'm telling you guys to do it. But if a company goes, hey, we do 110% money back guarantee, just try it. You literally have nothing to lose. And most people that say, oh, I can't do dairy protein, I have them try Formula One or Formula One Natural, and they do it and they're fine. And now they have that protein forever. And I've seen it happen with all my clients. Plus, just side note, if you're like, I only want to do vegan protein, they have the best tasting vegan protein that's non-chalky. It's not disgusting like most other vegan proteins that I've ever tried. And it is very good quality. Again, I just trust what's in that supplement when it comes here because I have listened to the CEO and I talk to people at the company and I just trust their morals, right? They're not going to cut corners to give you shitty products to save a couple bucks. And that's really important in the supplement industry because most people are in it for money. Yes, I understand that's why they're in it. It's a business, but I just think they're a pretty good product. I really do. I believe it. Now, I will tell you something, again, that maybe most trainers won't say it. First Form is not the only company I use. Okay? It's not. Sometimes it doesn't make sense. Certain things there don't make sense for me to get just based on the cost and some things I like. One supplement that I've been taking for years from Now, N-O-W. It's if you go to like a natural grocers or even on Amazon, you can get it. They're kind of like a health kind of company. They do have some like pre-workouts and some stuff like that, but they are GMP, so they're good manufacturing process. I trust where the supplements are kind of coming from. And I've taken the same supplement forever. And I take one of their vitamin Ds. I can try to link it in the show notes too. That I really, really like. And by the way, all the supplements I take, I'll put in the show notes and I'll link them exactly so you guys can see them. But I basically take 4 supplements. Well, I don't know. I actually should have wrote how many down I take, but I'll tell you the supplements I take every day. Number 1, I usually take First Form's Microfactor Pack, which is a multivitamin pack, or just their Hero Men's multivitamin. But the pack is actually a better deal because you get, I think, 3 multivitamins in it. So it's 3 for one day. You get an EFA, which is an essential fatty acid. You get a probiotic capsule, and it's not like super high potency, but it's enough. And you get a CoQ10 pill, and then fruits and veggies antioxidant tablet. So it's like kind of a little bit of everything that you need. I take one of those. I also take some magnesium. And then I take vitamin D. Like I said, I will use First Forms. They have a liquid vitamin D that's actually really, really good. But I was just being cheap. And so I just ended up getting now their vitamin D, NOW. And so I take that. I do take First Form's fish oil. It's called Full Mega, like the word full dash mega. And the reason I take it is because when you go to a fish oil, again, not all fish oils created the same. It will tell you fish oil, there's this many milligrams. But then when you go look, it will say EPA and DHA. You want those to be really high. Most like Walmart, Costco ones will say it's a lot of fish oil, but the actual healthy part of it, the EPA and DHA, is really, really low. First Forms is very high. I've never got fishy burp ups. I've never had it be like rancid. It doesn't sit on the shelf a long time. It's a good fish oil. It's a good fish oil. And I've been taking that since 2017. So for years and years and years, and I take 2 every day. And fish oil has been known to have like cognitive function, hair, skin, nails, all this different stuff. So again, I take their multivitamin pack. I take their fish oil. Sometimes I take their vitamin D, and then I do take the Formula One protein. And sometimes I take the creatine. And here's kind of my like gripe about creatine. And this is just a very personal preference. If you go research, like, is creatine beneficial for you? And you Google it, because that's what most people do, or you have another influencer trainer that you follow. Most people will say creatine is an awesome supplement. And I used to be on that train for about 4 or 5 years when I was in the military. I was bigger, I was thicker. But looking back on how I moved and I felt and my injury rate, I don't think I'll ever take creatine long-term again. And I'm going to walk you through why. But before that, I want to lay out these supplements again, just so you kind of understand. So I take a multivitamin pack every day, the microfactor pack. I also take their full mega fish oil. I also take a vitamin D, and sometimes I add in a magnesium depending on my training volume. So right now I'm doing a lot of mobility and end range strength. So I am training like 6 days a week, and I do get sore. So I take an extra magnesium blend right now. Okay. So I take that. And then every day, basically I take at least 1 to 3 scoops of the Formula One protein, depending on what I'm in the mood for, which is part of the nice thing about having some flexibility in your nutritional protocol, because I don't have to just eat chicken or steak or fish every day. If I'm like, I'm not that hungry, but I know I need to hit my protein, which I hear a lot from the people we train and our clients. I'm like, dude, take a shaker cup, put 2 or 3 scoops in, blend it with water and chug it, and you're good. 40 to 60 grams of protein right there in like 10 seconds. You're fine. So really, there's only like 4 or 5 supplements. Once in a while, I will take a pre-workout. Once or twice a week, I'll take their First Form's Opta Green 50, which is the best green supplement on the market, by the way. Amazing. I can link that too. When I feel like I'm feeling a little bit bloated or my gut doesn't feel right, I'll take that because it has micro-encapsulated probiotics, and I just feel healthy when I take it. So my supplement cupboard is kind of big, but the only reason that I have a lot of different supplements in there is usually when it comes down to protein, because I want a couple different flavors. So I'll give you an example. For First Form, for their Formula One Naturals, which is the protein that I highly suggest you take, they have chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry. So for me, I want at least 1 jug of all 3 flavors because I don't know what I'm going to be in the mood for. Most people burn themselves out on protein because they'll go to Costco and they'll be like, oh, Optimum Nutrition, or most people call ON, the acronym. They have chocolate. And so they'll go get chocolate and they'll have chocolate every freaking day. And then 30 days later, they're like, oh, this is disgusting. I don't want chocolate protein anymore. So, you have to be smart about it. So those are really the only supplements that I would recommend for most people. But I will tell you, with our clients, we usually start at a couple. Multivitamin for every single person. It doesn't even matter your goal, because whether it's burning fat, building muscle, or increasing your performance, or all 3, or mix match, it doesn't matter. Having the proper micronutrients in your body makes it so all cellular functions, all those things happen better. Okay. So that's a must. Fish oil is really, really important no matter what your fitness goal is. So I highly, highly suggest that. And you don't have to do the protein, but I'm telling you right now that most people are always low on their protein. And until they supplement with some type of protein supplement, it's very hard for them to consistently hit it. Not everybody, but for a lot of people that we work with, yes, they're low on their protein. It's very easily and conveniently solved by a protein supplement. Could you eat meat instead? Absolutely. Would it be better for you? It could, probably would be, right? As long as it's not like a really, really low quality meat. Probably would be better. but is it realistic for you to eat 180 grams of protein, mostly meat every day? For me, it's not. I feel like I don't feel like it. So it's easy for me to do 40 to 60 grams of that 180 grams or 90 grams that I eat and have it be powder. It's just easier for me. It's more convenient. It's more tasty. I feel like I don't get sick of eating a high protein diet every day also. Uh, so those are just some things to think about. Um, yeah, I mean, it's not a super complicated thing. Oh, I did say I would get into creatine. So one thing about creatine, when I take creatine, I immediately look like 20% more jacked within 1 week because creatine gets stores water in between your muscle cells. So you will look bigger. For the first week, I also look pretty cut because my body is getting saturated with creatine and I look big and jacked, and it's always great the first week. After the first week, I feel whether it's a creatine monohydrate, even an HCl, which creatine monohydrate, like a micronized creatine monohydrate, is the most widely studied creatine supplement. I do suggest it. First Forms is actually very cheap and it's very good. And sometimes I'll take some creatine. Like if I do a really high intensity workout, 1 scoop is 5 grams. That's what they tell you to take every day. I'll take like a quarter or a half a scoop, but it's not consistently. But here's why. If I take it consistently, I feel like a couple things happen. Number one, I feel like I get injured more. I just do. I think, and I'm not really going to get too deep in the science behind it, but it is an inner muscular thing. And I feel like when you just sit there and change the size of your muscles really rapidly, your ligaments and your tendons and your fascia and your joints, they change. I mean, like you got to think like if your muscle expands and gets 10% bigger in 1 week, the lines of connective tissue are pulling differently. And because I've had injuries in my shoulder and my back disc injury, I feel like my back is way more tight. I feel not as good on it. Do I feel stronger? Hell yeah. Do I get bigger? Hell yeah. Do I feel like performance wise, it makes me feel better? Sure. 100%. I'm not taking that away. For me, not you, you could try it and see. I think after a couple weeks, I feel big. So for the little guys trying to gain muscle, definitely take some creatine. You'll feel more jacked. You'll be happy. But for me, I already feel pretty muscular. I actually desire to be pretty lean and then mobile and flexible. And you can imagine if you get a lot bigger, you feel bigger. Like even though I'm 175 to 180 pounds and 5'10", when I take creatine, I feel like I'm 190, even though I'm not. And I just feel like I don't move as mobile. I feel like my range of motion goes down. And when I get a pump in the gym, I just feel like those big bodybuilders that like are hard to move. That's how I feel. So I don't like that. I would rather be more functional and being able to move well. Maybe in my younger days, that didn't matter. But again, I don't think creatine is a bad thing. Men and women can take it. I don't think it's bad at all. Women might not like the way they look on it, but if you are a woman that really cares about performance and wanting to get stronger, and you don't care about looking a little bulkier, I'm talking about a smidge. Don't think you're going to take creatine and look like you're on freaking steroids, because that's not what it is. But I'm not a big fan of it. So I really only take the essentials. I take a multivitamin, I take a fish oil, I take a protein, and sometimes I take like a green and a magnesium and a vitamin D. Like they're all, and again, the multivitamin is going to have the things you need in it. Generally, a vitamin B. It has tons of vitamins, but like vitamin B, vitamin D, zinc, magnesium. I just want a higher concentration of those things because zinc and vitamin D are really known to help testosterone. And as a man, that's very important to me, especially because I've had testosterone issues in the past. And so I want to make sure my natural test is really, really there for me without having to take Tribulus and fenugreek and all these like testosterone stuff. Sometimes it can just be done from like getting sunlight and exercise and whatever. But I feel like those are relatively inexpensive supplements that make me feel a lot better. So those are the supplements that I think are best. Again, I'll link them in the show notes. Guys, I don't think you need to overcomplicate what supplements you take. And I think my one recommendation for you is that you start at the base of the pyramid. Please don't go look at like the pre-workouts and all that stuff in the beginning. I don't know about you guys, but I've taken that route before, and pre-workouts are great once in a while, but it never happens like that. Like, let's be realistic. You're like, a pre-workout is only really meant to be taken when you're like struggling. You're like, dude, the last thing I want to do is go to the gym. But there are some people that think that all the time. So you know what they do? They take a pre-workout. And here's the scary thing. The workout on a pre-workout is so good that you would never want to have a workout that's not on pre-workout. That's the problem. I'll have to just be straight up. When you're like jacked up and freaking like, let's go, why would you want to work out where you're like, oh, I'm kind of motivated, right? So what happens is people end up taking it and taking it. Well, just like any stimulant and caffeine, your body gets used to it. So over and over and over again, you just become more tolerant, and you have to take more and more and more and more. If you're going to take a pre-workout, I highly suggest doing a half or a quarter scoop and never, ever, ever going beyond that, because a lot of pre-workouts are minimum 300 milligrams of caffeine, which is insane, especially before a high intensity workout. Not a good idea. And not all pre-workouts are created the same. Some are more on the pump side. Some are more on the like mental focus side. But I just say take enough to get a little motivation, but don't be freaking cracked out at the gym, and really only take it when you really, really need it, like once a week. And here's the good thing. If you take it once a week, that week, you know it's going to be good, and you get to look forward to it all week. It's like a cheat meal. Literally, if you're like, if I'm going to go eat this burger and these fries and this milkshake, and if you just did it every Friday, but you ate clean, dude, that meal, when it hits your lips, you're going to be like, this is the most delicious thing. And you're going to look forward all week. And when you get it, it's going to make you happy. If you had that food every day, it'd make you feel like shit. And it wouldn't even taste good. It's just what you eat all the time. So the pre-workout's the same way. And I used to do it. I used to do it once a week. It was on Fridays. And on Fridays, I would hit legs. I don't know why I hit them on Monday now, but on Friday, I'd hit legs, and I'd be looking forward to my pre-workout. I'd take a full scoop. I'm not going to lie. Usually I'd take a full scoop, but it got 6 days to get out of my system. So every time I took it, it was like the first time generally. And I was like pretty jacked, and I was at the gym for like 2 hours, and it was my long day, my leg day, and it was awesome. And I looked forward to it. And I wasn't abusing caffeine on the other days, right? It was a little bit of coffee in the morning before I worked out, just some black coffee, and that's it. So again, like if you're going to do a stimulant, you have to kind of regulate how often you're getting them, how much you take. So just be careful, but that's not where I would start. That's just a Band-Aid. You're not actually solving the problem, I guess, unless your problem is just like pure motivation. But we work with a lot of clients that don't take pre-workout, that use a goal and structure and accountability as their motivation, which I would highly suggest, right? I am a coffee guy, and I'm a stimulant guy, so I'm not against it. It's as unhealthy if like people are like, oh, don't do coffee in the morning. I'm like, I know. But for me, I'm a coffee guy. I love coffee. I don't know if I'd ever cut it out of my diet. I love the caffeine buzz. I love the taste. I love the smell. I love every freaking thing about it. And that generally has been my pre-workout. I rarely do pre-workouts. Once in a while, I'll go get like a Ghost energy drink or something like that at the store, but I do not drink the whole thing, even though it has 200 milligrams. I basically drink a quarter of it right before I go work out, just to like get a little more motivated. And then I put the rest in the fridge, and it takes me like 3 or 4 days to drink it. And again, sometimes that is on top of my coffee, but it's like another 25 grams of caffeine, right? I'm not doing 300-gram scoop of pre-workout. And generally, in the energy drinks that I get, it's mostly just natural green tea caffeine. It's not these mental stimulants and these pump matrices and all this crap, okay? It's just generally some caffeine, or I might just take one more swig of coffee before I work out. I do think being caffeinated while you train, there's a lot of studies that show benefit. I think it's beneficial, especially in the morning. But at the same time, like, that is such a small portion. And the reason I say that is because the working out and training is just like 1 hour, right? But you have another 23 hours where your body's going through these cellular processes, recovering your muscles, refilling your glycogen storage, generating new cells, all these things. And just like your muscles' fuel would be generally carbs or fats, your cells, right, have to have fuel. And the way that they're able to do their job is by your micronutrients, your vitamins, the things that you put in your body. And so if you have 0 vitamins, right, in your body, or no good fatty acids, it's very hard for your cells to do their job. And this is the hard thing. You don't feel it like you do a coffee. That is the hardest part. It's not like, when you take a multivitamin, you're not like, oh, wow, I have so much energy like coffee. No, you're not going to notice it. If I take a fish oil or I don't, it's not this huge noticeable difference. You might say, well, Stefan, why would I spend $100 or $120 a month on supplements? It's the long game, right? It's, do you want to be healthier? Do you want better cognitive function? Do you want better hair and skin and nails? And vitamins are kind of like insurance. It's hard to tell how many times you didn't get in a car accident. You understand that? That's like how vitamins are. Like, how many times did your vitamins prevent you from getting cancer? You'll never know. You'll never know. But what if they did? Would it be worth it? Well, absolutely. I'm not saying they do that, but that's the whole point. It's just this insurance. And to me, I want a little bit better performance, right? At that last 5 to 10%, I want the cherry on top, though. I want every advantage. If I'm eating the right foods and I'm putting in the work and I'm doing all that, I want to do it. There's a reason that I've been taking supplements my entire career. I do think they're beneficial. I like them. And even if some of them are a little bit of a placebo effect, good. I don't care, because then I am more conscious. And here's the last thing that's very important. I'm not saying go spend a bunch of money on supplements to make you more committed, but I can tell you right now that people that spend a lot of money towards their fitness, whether it's getting a cute outfit or getting new clothes or a cool gym bag or an expensive gym membership or buying supplements or getting a freaking trainer, they're more committed every single time. The more money you have towards something, the more likely you are to do it. So I'm not saying spend money on supplements just so you're more likely to stick with it, but it's hard to give up when you're doing all the things. You're prepping the food, you're going to the gym, you got the coach, you're doing the supplements. And so in our company, we never, ever push supplements on people as far as like a necessity. There's some companies that are like, oh, join our program. And then they're like shoving them down your throat. Excuse me. That's not what we do. We have a conversation. If you're just like, I eat the same thing every day and I see no fruits and no vegetables, you're going to take a multivitamin, or at least I'm going to highly suggest it. If you're like, I hate vegetables and I never eat them, I'm going to have you take a green every day. So you're getting in those micronutrients and some fiber. Like it's a supplement, right? It's supplementing what you're not getting in, because we don't eat a very good diet in the Western society. There's not a lot of variety. And if you want to feel, look, and perform your best, you need to give your body fuel to look, feel, and perform your best. It's that simple. It's not an overcomplicated thing. There's a reason you put premium gasoline in a Porsche, and there's a reason you put the bottom tier gasoline in a Honda Accord. One is just a more efficient engine, and it just has to have better fuel for it to perform at the way it's supposed to perform. And that's it. And maybe the car industry is screwing us over because we bought an expensive car, but that's the whole point, is like, if you want your body to be something that runs well, put good things in it. Like, try to perform well by putting alcohol in it every weekend. I used to be there. You're poisoning it. Good luck. Right? So we want to do the opposite thing. If you're really, really serious, you'll take the basis. Again, I'll put all the supplements in the show link. From what I take and I recommend, if you want to order directly from those links, it actually does directly benefit Pursuit and me. So I would really appreciate it. Again, with First Form, one thing I've always liked about them is their customer. So even if you didn't like something, when I say 110% money back, I'm literally serious. They will give you all your money back plus 10% for the inconvenience. And I really haven't had a lot of people that tried them and said, I didn't find anything I liked. I'm not saying you'll like every supplement, but it's a good thing to like get in with a company that you really trust. That way you're not at the store and you're like, oh, I guess I'll get this random protein that I've never done any research on because it's the cheapest. I mean, you can also get chicken at McDonald's for $1, right? And you can also get chicken that's organic at the store for $6 a pound. Is there a difference? I would hope you would think so. So again, not all supplements are created equal. You need to be smart. I'm not telling you guys to go get the most expensive bougie supplements whatsoever. Again, supplements don't mean shit if you're not doing everything else right too. That's why I say they're the last 5 or 10%. Your sleep, your water intake, your stress management, your exercise, your baseline nutrition needs to be right, or the supplements don't really solve the problem. But here's the caveat. if you're not doing those right, at least a multivitamin and a fish oil and a protein would help you get closer to your goals, which is why I say I literally recommend everybody. Because even if you're doing everything wrong, at least you're giving yourself some more vitamins and nutrients to just be a little bit healthier. So hopefully this was helpful. And if you guys are interested in what we do and what we're doing with hundreds of clients all over America and actually in a couple different countries right now, and getting an online custom program that's tailored to you with both training, nutrition, accountability, weekly access to your coach, 24/7 access, weekly check-ins, a group, a community of veterans, first responders, medical professionals, and moms and dads, then join our group. You can go on the website. You can actually book a free call with me or one of our onboarding specialists, and we'll chat with you to see if we can help you come up with an awesome program. And of course, in our program, we are helping you with supplements and stuff like that too. So I appreciate it, guys. I love you, and we'll talk to you next.